Can we end homelessness, and how?
Yes, yes, we can. Um, I'm going to be a broken record here. Government needs to build more affordable housing. And that affordable housing has to remain affordable. It can't belong to the private market where in 5 or 10 years it goes back to market rents. There have to be different levels of affordability. There's this sort of problematic thing that is happening in different countries where affordable is used as a buzzword, and what they'll mean by that is 80% of market rent. And that is not affordable for many, many people. So we need to understand that affordable housing has to be deeply affordable. It has to meet the actual incomes of people. We need to raise welfare rents or welfare rates. And in Ontario, the ODSP program, Ontario Disability Supports Program, which is very similar, offers a little bit more money, but not much more. We need to provide enough social benefits that people can live. The shelter allowance for a single individual living on welfare is, I was just looking at these numbers recently, and I'm not good at keeping numbers in my head, but it's some very low number. Like I want to say $300 a month or something. It is absurdly low. Nobody can afford rent at that, unless they're lucky enough to get connected with a rent supplement, which there are not enough of those around. And so the whole system is set up to keep people in poverty. And so those are government obligations so we as community, if we want to talk about back at the community level, can hold government to account. We can vote for governments or vote for parties that are actually committed to deep affordability and raising the minimum wage and raising welfare rates, like actually addressing poverty. So I think, homelessness as we know it now in Canada is not that old. It has only really been around for the last 30-35 years. And it coincides exactly with the time when the federal cuts to housing happened. I remember being, so I'm in my late 40s now, and I remember being a youngster in the 70s and 80s, living first in Winnipeg and then in Toronto, and it was really rare to see a street homeless person. It was really exceptional. And I remember that changing through the 90s, especially in Ontario, when the Harris government came in and all sorts of terrible cuts. And then, suddenly street homelessness just exploded. And then it kind of went back down a little bit and re-exploded. And we've just never gotten back to those numbers. And that's because the affordable housing disappeared. It just stopped being built. It was not replaced. It doesn't have to be like this. But it really is going to take government commitment, which means in liberal democratic states, citizens who are going to vote for parties and hold those parties to account to do that work, which is also about educating people to understand the need for it, which is why what you guys are doing is so great.
Thanks. Yeah, and that's a lot of it, right? Is trying to make sure that people understand that these are complex issues and that there are solutions to them, but it's not a quick overnight solution, that we really need to all act towards making change.
Exactly. Yeah.